This is the session which is on the SRE. So I just want to tell you some of the prerequisites on SRE. So SRE is not a one topic. SRE's topic varies from project to project. SRE topics varies from team to team and how the organization is implementing the SRE. So it all depends on like what type of activities you are doing. But there are some principles which you have to follow. Wherever SRE teams are there, you have to follow certain principles and then only you can get the deliverables. Now, the thing is like the contents of SRE, I don't believe it can be concised in a PPT or document or anything. There is no beginning, there is no end to SRE. So whenever you go to a SRE team, whatever the requirements come up accordingly, you have to take the action. Now, if you see the other parts of SRE, DevOps is very much similar to SRE. There are some companies, there are some organizations where there is no SRE or there is no particular DevOps team. It's just one team, SRE team or DevOps team. They are implementing both. So you can say like it all goes hand in hand. Or I will say like DevOps cannot be fully secured without SRE. That's what we are going to learn in this session. Okay, that's what I'm going to show in this session. That how DevOps can be integrated to SRE or how SRE can help in the DevOps lifecycle. So why I'm saying DevOps? Because SRE is 99% related to DevOps. It is not related to development. It is not related to testing. Okay. It's not related to some unit testing or some deploying to the production. So it's mostly related to DevOps, and you can say between development and operations, how the SRE can fit in the picture. That's site reliability engineering. Okay. So let's go. So mostly in the introduction, I'm going to just say that what is SRE, what are the operations we perform in SRE, and why SRE is important. So one of the things, SRE is very much a bit theoretical concept. And as a SRE engineer, your one of the sole responsibility is to give ideas, is to suggest the team. So first thing which when SRE came into picture is introduced by Google. They have all the environments ready. They have all the setups ready. But when it is coming to the deliverables, they are facing issues. Not issues in the technical perspective, but in the small things they are facing the issues. Suppose an incident is coming up that this infrastructure is breaking up, please take care. People are going and resolving the issues also. But still, 95% of the issue is resolved, 5% are remaining, and that is causing the bigger issue. That is impacting the whole market. Okay. 5% of the users are impacted. Suppose 5% of the users are impacted in India. You can imagine the population and 5% of how much it's impacting. Lakhs and lakhs of incidents. In that very notch, they were lacking. That's why they formed an SRE team, especially for those all activities which are lagging between the DevOps team and the customers. So let's go to the core principles of SRE. Okay. So it's basically to reduce toil, okay, as I showed you, and embrace the risk, automate everything as possible. And one of the most important thing in SRE is monitoring. So in SRE, what we have to learn, what tools we have to learn, what technologies we have to learn, there's no defined technology. But one technology you have to learn is very much important, that is monitoring. And monitoring also very much varied. Like someone is in Prometheus, someone is Grafana, someone is Splunk, someone is Datadog. So you have to be good in one of the monitoring tools, at least. Whether now it's Splunk is very much in the market. If you learn Splunk, or Prometheus and Grafana is very much in the market, and Grafana and Prometheus is open source also. So I suggest if you have never worked in any of the monitoring, please go ahead and learn Grafana. Okay. I cannot cover because in the SRE, if one monitoring tool I have to cover, that's a separate thing. Okay. It will take 2 to 3 months to cover that. But I'll try to cover one of the monitoring tools at least, so that at least you can know, like while setting up a monitoring tool and after setting up the monitoring tool, what are the things that you have to take care so that the system doesn't get a latency, doesn't get impaired, and all. Now, what are the other things? Still, if you see, there is no clear picture I have told, like what is SRE or what we do in SRE. So I'll just explain like what we exactly do. I will show you one test case also, case study. So first of all, why site reliability engineering is important and what are the key principles for that? So first of all, since I told SRE is basically related to theory, we have to learn the theory. Otherwise, if you go in interviews and all, it's very difficult to crack SRE because SRE, at least in DevOps, at least in development, there are certain things that they used to ask. You have to learn again and again those things. But SRE is such kind of thing that you can't put a boundary on it. If some questions are coming up, you can't say, I don't know this. Well, this is not a part of SRE. Everything is a part of SRE. If they are asking, like, give the best ideas so that my DevOps lifecycle or so that my CI/CD pipeline works more efficiently, works more securely, you have to tell the steps. You don't have to implement the steps. Okay. Suppose you are telling that an image should be scanned, a Docker image should be scanned with certain kinds of tools, whether it is Aqua, whether it is Twistlab, whether it is Prisma Cloud, whether it is Wiz or anything. At least you have to tell the step. You don't have to know Prisma Cloud. You don't have to know Wiz, but you should know like what are the steps that can be involved or what are the tools that are in the market. Then you can go ahead and compare. If certain teams are telling you that which tool is the best, then you can go ahead and compare. You can start talking with the product team. You can tell them to show the demo, and then you can compare like what is the efficiency, how much time it is taking to scan one image, the same image by both of the tools. What are the vulnerabilities that it is detecting? What are the vulnerabilities that it is missing? Okay, which other tools as well. So all these things you can do later up, and this all depends on the team to team, product to product. You don't have to be precise on any one tool. So let's say like what we used to do in site reliability. Okay. For that, you have to know like why this SRE is important. So basically, SRE describes the, you can say, the stability and quality of a service that an application offers after being made available to end users. This is the exact definition of SRE. Okay. It describes the stability and the quality of the service that an application offers after being made available to end users. But is it true nowadays? So this definition has been changed a bit. Even before being available to end users, okay, people are experimenting now. Even in the UAT environment, before going to production, there are so many lower environments, right? UAT, FUT, various kinds of test environments. Okay, they are testing in the lower environments that the service, whatever we are providing to customers, is reliable or not. Now, what is the FUT environment? It's a very interesting environment in FUT. So FUT environment is like, suppose a product is getting delivered to customer, any product, whether it's a banking application, whether it's an insurance application, whether this is any live product, any shop website or so. Okay. Now, in FUT environment, what we used to do, suppose you have a team of 100 members or you have a company where you have a team of even 10 members. They are exposing that product only to the 10 members. They are considering this 10 members as a 100% public. Okay. And they keep on adding the members. Suppose we formed a team of 100 members. Okay. From 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40. So we keep that 100 members as a 100% public. And the same product is going to be tested, each and everything. The security, the reliability, how it is performing. So all these things is getting tested. Where it is successful, then gradually we are increasing the percentage of the customers. Suppose 100 users are there, right? We are now exposing to 10% of the US population, whoever has enrolled in the application. We have tested everything. It's working good. From FA2 is gradually going to prod. So now the end users thing is a bit catchy now, even before end users. Earlier it was that the product is getting delivered, SRE team was not there. They are forming an SRE team. Let's set up the monitoring, let's set up the alerts. No. So software maintenance, sometimes like use case, you can be like software maintenance, sometimes affects software reliability, right? Suppose even in the maintenance right now, if you see yesterday, the very much popular issue came, the Cloudflare issue. I hope you all will be knowing. If you don't know that, that's fine. So Cloudflare issue is one of the big example of SRE mistake, what mistakes they have done. Still, the issue is not clear. Okay. Yesterday only I written a LinkedIn article. So what Cloudflare is getting issue here? Okay. So the thing is, our users is getting routed to load balancer. From load balancer, it is getting routed to servers. So before load balancer, there is certain thing called CDN, Content Delivery Network. Now, what is this Content Delivery Network? You can consider this as the cache. Suppose you are regularly logging in. First time you log in, takes some time. Second time you log in, it doesn't take so much time. Maybe it takes just 2 seconds. First time it took almost 20 seconds. So that is the cache. Okay, that cache being worked as a CDN, Content Delivery Network. And that Content Delivery Network, one of the company used to provide at a very sophisticated way, that is Cloudflare. It's not like only Cloudflare is giving this service. Every cloud has a CDN service. CloudFront, AWS has a CloudFront. So instead of CloudFront, now every team is using Cloudflare because Cloudflare has something called 300 plus regional caches. Okay. Now, what is regional caches? I'm not going to go much deeper. So you can consider like I am sitting here. My application is in a server. The server is located in US. So the latency between me and the server is much, right? So what Cloudflare has done, they have set up their data centers like a regional cache. Okay. So what you will do, like suppose one request has gone in that location, that regional cache used to store your cache session. So next time, whenever you are logging in, the request is going to the server when the server is responding to the cache, and from the cache it is coming to us. So it becomes a faster. So it has almost 300 plus regional caches. Now the issue is still not known, but from the initial research, what is like one of the services of Cloudflare is down at all due to unexpected traffic. Now the traffic is surge or DDoS. We don't know. Now what is surge? Surge is like if you have a application and 1 million customers are getting that application, suddenly it becomes 1.5 million. And those 1.5 million are genuine customers. It's a genuine public. It's not bot or something. Okay. Then it's surge. What is DDoS? There comes the bots, the hackers. They are trying to hack with 5 million requests more. Okay. 0.5 million requests more, 1.5 million. So that becomes DDoS. Surge is a genuine public, whoever is hitting. So still not known whether that's a surge or whether that's a DDoS. And Cloudflare, that service is not able to hold that traffic. It's not a mistake of SRE, I will say. It's a mistake of the whole team. SRE has to manage all these things that nothing should come up and all. It's a combination mistake of both stress testing team, DevOps team, the SRE team and all. So next, we'll just go ahead. Before going to the key server metrics, okay, as I told you, like what work we used to do in SRE. So there are some practices which you have to follow while we are doing any SRE practice. So one of the practices that it you improve the collaboration. SRE improves the collaboration between the development and the operations team. Development often have to make rapid changes to an application, right? Like suppose an application is coming, new features is coming. They have to do a rapid changes since this is agile world now. So developers often have to make rapid changes to an application to release new features or fix critical bugs. And on the other hand, what operations team has to do? They has to ensure seamless service delivery. Okay. So suppose developers have made some changes and the process should be in such a way as soon as they make the changes, the customer should get it. Because the CI/CD is automated, right? Once it's pushed to the main branch, it will get delivered to the server. Now, here the SRE practices to closely monitor every update and promptly respond to any issues. Now, here comes the SRE team. So, between development and getting delivered, there comes the SRE that product is getting delivered to customers in an efficient way. Okay. But fix whatever they are providing or feature coding, whatever they are doing, that should happen in a proper way. No errors should come in between. If any errors are coming, SRE team has to come up and see and have to report to the development team. Okay, this issue is coming, please resolve it soon. So is this kind of support? Yes. But you should not feel assured that I am in a support role. No. SRE team is one of the major factors that Google is working so efficiently. Amazon is working so efficiently. So next thing is like it enhances the customer experience. That is the most important part of SRE because you are coordinating between both development and operations team. You have knowledge of both. So that makes you more stronger hold on both. There are certain teams where if you see SRE is one of the most dominating team. Until and unless SRE gives you a heads up, you cannot go ahead and do the feature changes or the code changes or all. It all depends on SRE, like what they are suggesting you. Only you have, then you have to raise the change, get the approvals from the SRE team members and deliver it. So it enhances the customer experience. Now, what organization used to do? Organization use an SRE model actually to ensure software errors do not impact the customer experience. For example, software teams use SRE tools to automate the software development lifecycle. This reduces errors. Meaning the team can prioritize the new feature development over the bug fixes. Next, what it used to do, there is certain of like it improves the operational planning. Now, what is operational planning? So, SRE teams accept that there is a realistic chance for software to fail. Suppose I have accepted, I am an SRE member, I have accepted that there is a realistic chance that if this code comes into picture, if this code is pushed to main, there are chances the software will fail. At least 10% will fail. So therefore, the team plans for an appropriate incident response. So we have made a preliminary steps that if fails, what are the backup steps to be done? We have documented all the backup steps. That's one of the tasks of SRE. Teams plans for the appropriate incident response to minimize the impact of downtime on the business and end users. They can also better estimate the cost of downtime, understand the impact of such incidents. Okay. So all these case studies, right? We can document, and this will not be a small document. If you just imagine, like, what are the failures can come, how we can remediate. If we can't remediate within a fixed time, how we can have a backup plan. Okay. What is the cost that will get wasted here? In the downtime, how much it is impacting and how much will be the noise, right? That's all analysis you have to do. It may feel easy, like just to erasing the incident. We are just doing a post-mortem analysis, but actually if you work in any SRE team, this is quite interesting. And the best part is like, the whole scenario. Development doesn't know the whole scenario. Product team doesn't know the whole scenario. The DevOps team doesn't know the whole scenario. So this three benefits is considering the almost the whole SRE. Improved collaboration, enhancing the customer experience, improved operations planning. So you are engaged in, if you see all the steps, you are except the development stage when you develop the code. After that, you are involved in all the steps, operations, enhancing the customer experience, and improving the collaboration. So key SRE metrics. Before going to this, I just wanted to tell you this. So whenever you go to any interview, recently one of my key members of one of my batch, he is a SRE engineer. He went to a interview. It was a drive. I think the company was LTI Mindtree or something. Okay. So he went there and he was telling me his experience. Okay. The first question he is whether you are a DevOps engineer or whether you are an SRE engineer. For me, this question is very wrong. Of course, you have to have the experience of SRE, but it doesn't mean that DevOps engineer cannot become an SRE. Yeah, but if you're in a very good company, right? They don't have time to give you KT. Of course, at that time you need a particular SRE. So he just asked one question. Okay, tell me what are the SRE best principles or what are the SRE best practices? He just asked a simple question. So whenever I have told all these things to you, right? These are all the best practices. Now he got confused, like what to tell here. I don't have anything in my mind right now. If suddenly someone, what are the SRE best principles? What will you tell? You have so many things coming in your mind and you are blank now. The first point you'll say that we will make sure that monitoring is up to date. No, very bad answer this is. Although you know the things, what we used to do in SRE. So at that time, whatever you tell, you have to use some basic terms. We have to maintain the SLI, SLO, and the SLA. The next question will be that only. through your experience, you should know what are the SRE best principles. The next thing they will ask you, what are SLI, SLO, and SLA? So your answer should define the next question. Now, key metrics of SRE is, first is service level indicators. What are service level indicators? I have written just one line. What you measure? Latency, uptime, and errors. There is nothing like rocket science here, some technical terms. These are very basic terms, but just you have to know it. SLI is what you measure. SLO is target those indicators. Whatever you have set up the indicator, right? You have to target those in how? I will just show you. SLA you might have seen in your organization, right? Incident is coming. If it is a low priority, you have to resolve within 3 days. If it is a high priority, P2, P1, you have to resolve within a P1, you have to resolve within an hour or so. If it is P2, you have to resolve within a day. It all depends on what SLA terms you are maintaining in your organization. So SLOs, to the three things, SLI, SLO, I think target those indicators, target for these indicators. You might have got confused, like what will target here. So service level objectives are specific, and it's like a goals that can be quantified, that you are confident that software can achieve at a reasonable cost to other metrics, such as, I'll just give an example. You will be able to understand what is SLO. Okay. And these are the three things you should know. SLI, SLO, SLA. Even if you give an SRE interview tomorrow, you have to use these three terms. So these are basically specific and quantifiable goals that we're confident that software can achieve at a reasonable cost to other metrics. Now, what is the other metrics? Uptime, system throughput, system output, you can say the download rate, the speed at which the application loads. So basically an SLO promises, what it promises? That the software could be delivered to the customer, but you have set a 99.95% uptime SLO for your company's food delivery app or any. So the product will be delivered to customers, but there can be a 5% downtime for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. 99.95% it will be always up. That you can ensure. I mean, through the SLO, you can ensure that how much can be the latency, how much can be the uptime, how much can be the errors. Those things you can make objective, you can make SLO document. Okay, if this product comes into picture, what can be the disadvantages? What can be the advantage? That's the advantage. It doesn't mean like it will be downtime for 50% of the time, 50% of the day. No. If it is there, then you don't have to make this SLO document. Okay. Then you have to tell the development team directly that no, we will not allow that you will deliver this product to even 50% of the customers, because your product has a high chance of failure, almost 50%. But yeah, if you have a suppose 99%, like 1% can be the surge, right? Now ChatGPT and all, if you see, it has a downtime now due to Cloudflare issue, because all are using Cloudflare. Now next, the SLA you might have known already. If any incident comes, suppose I'm not able to log in. I'm a SSA bank customer. I'm not able to log in. I've raised a incident, but only I am not able to log in. Many people, 99% of the people are able to log in. Maybe I have an issue with my password. Maybe really there is some code issue that it is intermittently failing, but will be resolved within 3 or 4 days, even since I am the only customer, right? Or suppose there are 100 customers only among this whole population. That's a P3 multi. So, or else you can upgrade it to P2 depending on the locality. Suppose it's any, recently it happened, one of my friend, he's in US actually. So, he is a Citibank customer, yeah, and he is supporting the Citibank as an SRE member. So, he got a big mail from his delivery manager that Indian Citibank CEO, I think his wife, Mukita Jabari, is facing the issue. So, at that time, it becomes a presidential issue, right? Even if it's just one customer, but that customer is very big. So you have to work within a very defined time. I want an issue to be resolved within 1 hour. So that becomes a P1 then. So these things we have to take care. So the thing is, like, I was taking other sessions also. I have been in the teaching for the last 4 years almost. This is my 22nd year in IT industry. So if I am teaching DevOps, right? If I'm teaching AI or AI automation or anything, people have so many questions because so many technical things. But here SRD, like, people need to understand everything here. You can say this is easy. Definitely this is easy. SRD thing. But this is very critical. If you go to a Amazon SRE job or anything, any SRE job, not only Amazon, if you go to good companies like Optum or anything, there you will find like SRE team is, the work is very easy, but it is very time taking and you will be given much importance there. But the best thing is, like, I will tell you, don't be only an SRE engineer. Be a engineer, SRE with DevOps, SRE with automation. Don't be an engineer like only SRE with monitoring and all. So that's my own personal point of view. I used to say to every people, and even when I worked as an SRE engineer almost 5 to 6 years ago, at the time there was not much cloud, there was not much automation, there's not much AI. Everything used to be very new. So we don't used to have much work at the time. But gradually now, how the SRE team is coming to picture is phenomenal. Like every company, everyone is having a separate job role for SRE. So DevOps engineer can definitely be an SRE engineer, but doesn't mean they will crack the interviews. I have seen many DevOps engineers applying for SRE roles and they're getting rejected because they don't know these things. Okay. So example, 99.9% SLO, it means 99% 9% of 43 minutes. So this is a very classic example. So if you see there's just one liner I have given, 99.99% of SLO, 43 minutes downtime per month, just 43 minutes downtime per month. This is a very good rate. In month, totally there's only 43 minutes downtime. So this product can be delivered, whether to customers, whether to CEOs or whatever. Not every product is for customers, right? There are some tools we are using for our own incident response and all, right? ServiceNow and all we're using for companies. ServiceNow is not being used by the products. So don't consider that whenever I'm telling customer is always customer. Customer can be us also. Customer can be the company also. The next thing, SRE practices. First is the monitoring and alerting. So whenever you are going to an SRE team, you have to do all these 5 things. Monitoring setup you have to do. If any company is saying like you don't have to do, just you have to suggest the teams, no. So the SLI, SLO and all these things you set up, company will ask you, make this system secure. Now security will tell like, okay, we'll have to adopt some security tools, we'll implement it. No, that is already there. After that, what you can do? You have to set up the monitoring that if any server is getting down, not only server, if any, suppose there is an S3 bucket of AWS, if any sensitive data is coming into the S3 bucket, it should get notified, right? So this kind of monitoring and alerting you have to set up. And monitoring and alerting you can set up through various tools. Okay, Splunk, there is alert mechanisms are very much readily available. Okay, you don't have to be very technically correct or you have to know because every monitoring tool has its own language. Splunk has its own language. Datadog has its own language. You can't learn each and every language. You can learn one common programming language, but monitoring language you cannot learn one. But I'll tell you, you go in Splunk if possible. Take the help of ChatGPT, take the help of YouTube. It doesn't matter to me. Okay, take the help of any of the uh, kings of this monitoring. So many kings are there in the YouTube. So just fix one tool, learning how to set up the monitoring. What are the queries that you can learn? Recently, one of my colleague is taking the interview of a almost a 26-year experienced girl for an SRE role, and that colleague has asked her to write a SQL query as a part of the interview. And at that time, she might have forgotten. She knows everything. She might have forgotten. So this is a very silly question. Even if this is my colleague, this is a very silly question that you are asking to the SRE engineer. If I am asking, Rahul, you can just go ahead and write one Splunk query, which will give you the metrics per host. So there is certainly called stats count by host. So this is a very silly question that I'm telling you to write a query. If you go to a good interview, they will never ask these questions. So you don't have to be good in every monitoring tool language, but you just go ahead and learn Splunk or Prometheus or Grafana. I'll tell that since Splunk is a enterprise tool, it's still not free. Prometheus and Grafana are free. You can go ahead and learn that. I'll try to cover that also. Next is this incident response and on-call management. You know it. Nowadays, incident on-call is one of the most important part any software engineer. That on-call you have to be there in Saturdays and Sundays. So that if any incident comes, you can go ahead and report that. You can go ahead and document that. You can involve the incident management team and make sure that, okay, these many customers impacting. Let's prioritize this and let's involve all the teams to resolve this issue. So this SRE teams definitely used to do, and this is a very critical task. That's why SRE teams become much more important. They cannot fire you so easily. They can fire the developers, they can fire the DevOps engineers, but SRE cannot be fired so easily. Next is the capacity planning. Now, what is the capacity planning? Capacity planning is nothing but these things. SLI, SLO, and SLA. SLO is one of the most important key part of the capacity planning. So after all the analysis, he got to know that 43 minutes downtime is only there. So he has made a very big report. This is the product, this is the things. This is the servers where it's getting deployed, the servers are running. very efficiently. The servers have author scalers. So all these reports you can do multiple capacity planning. Not only because when I was in 2016, I was working for a company where I have to prepare the capacity deck. At that time, it was not an SRE team. It was a kind of support team, which I was supporting. So capacity deck we have to prepare. So last year, how much capacity it came up, how much capacity our servers are able to sustain, and how much customers got failed. A failure can be a password, that failure can be a technical failure also, but at least all those capacity plannings we can do. So that next time, whenever the next batch will be coming next month, we can have a heads up that, okay, there's many customers, this percent of the customers have got impacted. This is the basic errors they got. Okay, how much of the error patterns they will consider? Okay, all are password mismatch error. So you don't have to take care much. But if it is like a 404, 404, 404, then definitely there are some intermittent failures that happen. Let's resolve those. Okay, in the next month. That's called the capacity dip. Change management, you know, right? Whenever any prod deployments happen, you have to deploy through a change. In the service now, you have to raise the change where you have to where you give the backup plan, what's you are going to implement, and that has to be approved by your higher authorities, whether your delivery managers or anything. Nowadays, even the lower environment deployments also happens through a change, although so much approvals are not needed. And change management has a change window. Okay, I will do the deployment in Sunday 11 to 1 p.m. only, so that the customer are less at that time. Previous customers are less. If it is Indian customers, we'll do in the night time because Indian customers are less in the night time. So that's the change management. Next is the reliability reviews and production readiness. This plan you have to make before the change management, right? Production readiness. So if you see there is a readiness plan, right? I don't know whether our organization used to have that or not, but when I was in the IT sectors, so at that time there used to be the readiness plan. So how much your product is ready? How much is the chances for the failures? It's all the same. Okay, SLI, SLO, and SLO only. So, and the reviews. So reviews is like you can go ahead and take your reviews from your peers, from your stakeholder, from your managers, or from your developers. Okay, so it's on the combined reliability reviews. You can take it up. So these are the 5 factors which you have to do as a SRE member. Now, I hope you got the things like how an SRE member works. So SRE tools, I have kept it in a separate slide because I want you to know like what are the things that can be available. So monitoring, these are the tools. Logging. After monitoring is different things. So for monitoring, what we need logs, right? The logs should get stored in somewhere. Okay. Logs will not get stored in Prometheus Grafana. It will get stored in the ELK, Loki, CloudWatch, and all. When the CloudWatch from the Prometheus used to scrape these metrics. Okay, SCRF, scrape these metrics and used to show in the dashboard. Okay, dashboard can be Grafana, dashboard can be Kibana, anything. And there are some tracing tools. Is used to trace it. So what is the difference between logging and tracing? So tracing is like it's not much of a difference between the loggings and the tracing. Tracing has a certain kind of machine learning algorithms. So in between the logs, what you are going to trace it? You are going to trace it like how much of the infrastructure has been failed and which errors it's populating. So that's the tracing of the things. So that also is a separate tool. AWS has a very inbuilt tool that called X-ray. So nowadays, what you can do, you can transfer the logs to CloudWatch and X-ray both. I have never made the difference. I am basically into AWS. Okay, my main part is AWS. Okay. But I am multi-cloud also. But I have seen like people are using X-ray for bigger logs and all, so that they can trace it easily. Next is the automation. Terraform, Ansible, GitOps. So you have to aware of the automation thing. It's not like you have to learn all these things, but at least if any deployment is happening through pipeline, right? You have to know like, okay, this is happening through pipeline. What are the pipeline steps are there? But if you don't know what is a pipeline, you will not be able to understand anything. So at least you should know the things. Okay. So I'm not telling you to go into depth, but at least go into the things like how the automation is happening, whether it is through Terraform, if it is infrastructure, it's through Terraform, if it is application, it is through GitOps. No, GitOps is very much into the picture. If time permits, I will show you like how GitOps works. CI/CD, GitHub Actions. So these are all the CI/CD tools. Jenkins. So once the application is developed, it is being deployed through a certain kind of mechanisms, right? That's the CI/CD automation, continuous integration and continuous delivery. Next thing is like what once we take action, what it used to do? It used to detect the issue, alert, incident response. Now, root cause analysis, okay, you have to do. Fix you don't have to do. Okay, fix you have to let people know, right? And the post-mortem analysis you can do. Add automation to prevent it. This you can definitely do because of the monitoring tools, logs, improve the SLOs, a continuous improvement, okay, reliability and velocity. So these are all things we have discussed. Okay. That's why I told that SRE doesn't have a particular roadmap. I don't believe in SRE roadmap. SRE can be in DevOps, SRE can be in automation, SRE can be in anything. Okay. SRE can be in monitoring also. And these are the benefits of SRE. I just want to show you one case study before we wrap up. So whenever I used to go ahead and I have so many case studies. I don't want to put it in a very much rapid form. Okay. So suppose there is a SOPMART application, right? And this SOPMART application, actually, I have worked in this application a very long time ago. So now this SOPMART is gone. Okay. It has been replaced by so many technologies like Macy's, Bill Gates and all. So SOPMART was a fast growing at the time e-commerce application, not in India. Okay. It was not SOPMART, actually, it was something else. I'm not, I don't want to reveal it. So that's a confidential thing. Okay. So this was a fast growing e-commerce application and it was facing frequent outages during peak sale events. Suppose now this Thanksgiving is coming, right? In US. Or even our so many festivals came up. At the time sale becomes at the peak, right? So their microservices based architecture grew rapidly, right? They are using the container based methods in Kubernetes and then serverless. Okay. But the operational practices stayed manual. So operational practice, what is the operational practice? So you have developed the application, now you have to deploy that, but you are doing manually. On-call engineers are spending most of their time firefighting issues because at the meantime you have to deploy manually, right? There is no automation process. So people are coming and deploying it and they're facing, every time they're deploying it manually, they're facing issues. There are no proper things. So these are the challenges which mostly I got identified. No clear reliability targets. Teams don't know how much downtime was acceptable. Manual deployments cause regressions and service disruptions. Lack of there is no metrics, logs, and traces. High toil, consent manual starts. No structured incident response. Suppose if any customer is reporting, okay, it's coming to the picture and people are notifying to other people or other teams. So there should be a proper ServiceNow team, right, who is to manage the incidents. Okay, once the reports, there is a series of steps that should be there. There comes the SRE team. Now, after the SRE implementation, we defined the SLOs and the error budgets. We added the observability. Now, these are the things which we have done. Instrumented services with Prometheus and Grafana. Implemented distributing tracing for slow API calls. Now, what are the slow API calls? So, slow API calls is I have logged in. So, the username and the password is matching to some place, right? Database. Your username and password is being stored in the database in encrypted form. It is getting decrypted and then it is getting matched. And when it is coming to the homepage, you are going to the homepage, right? So in all these things, what is this calls that is happening? Putting your username and the request is going to database. That's actually API call. Your front end and the back end. Now there is certain thing called APIs. Okay, you don't have to write a call, you have to make a API. You can consider this is the bridge. So that is very slow. And centralizing the logs within the ELK stack. So if you see, I have just implemented distributing tracing. I have not resolved that. I have just set up a monitoring which will detect the slow API calls. Okay, latency. Now all these logs I used to send to our development teams. Oh, this is the slow API calls. Implement some steps or whatever your code has. Please ensure some threading is there so that because Python has something called threading, which used to increase the efficiency of the code, right? If it is running in 5 milliseconds, if you implement threading, it will just run in 1 millisecond, the same code. So every code has that you don't have to know that they will take care of. Okay. Now the automated deployments. Okay. Migrated to GitHub Actions. It was automated, but we have suggested that please migrate to GitHub Actions, Argo CD. So this reduced the deployment. So we have not implemented. We have just suggested that these are the tools which can help you in automation. Maximum, they'll tell you what are the steps that are involved. You have to just tell the steps. You can get the steps from any of the Google sources. Okay. So that how they will do, that's their problem. That's DevOps team's problem. Actually, this migrated to GitHub Actions. The implementation part, actually, it's a DevOps team work. But sometimes the DevOps and the SRE team work hand in hand. Establish the incident management, set up on-call rotations, escalation policies, and logbook. Suppose a team member who is there is not reporting. What's the escalation point of contact? We send a mail that please ensure that the proper member should be there, should be responding to our reporting incidents. So after 3 months, see, these are the improvements we got. Downtime reduced by 60%, incident resolution time improved from 45 to 12 minutes, toil reduced by 40%, customer complaints dropped significantly, and the platform handled now 2x traffic without failures. Leadership explained the SRE team after seeing measurable reliability improvements. So these things, whatever I have shown you, this is a very big task actually, which SRE has implemented actually. Okay, if you see, it's not like some development is implemented. If these things would not have been there, maybe in certain times you have to shut down this application. Chokmar. These things coming up. So many softwares have got closed because of not implementing. Many people just think, even the startups. Now, I'm involved in a startup also. So I've seen many of the startup, they just used to develop, just used to deliver the code. But now see how much is the importance of that. So this is the actual SRE use case. Lots of things in between because SLAs and error budget, this all takes time. You cannot do it in quick time. You have to take a time of 3 to 4 months to give all these suggestions and implement this. And in implementing all these, you will face issues that you have to resolve, that you have to take in. So you have to constantly being on the run, and that values importance as well. So this is the whole SRE thing. I just wanted to show you. Maybe you feel this is a too much theoretical thing, but this is the thing that I have to show you here. While doing the projects, okay, at that time, we'll do a full hands-on project. And you will see how much time a simple thing is taking. I'm deploying this thing that will take almost 10 days. I can give you hundreds and hundreds of errors when we're deploying, and how the SRE team is into hustle and bustle to resolve this. Not to resolve this, to make sure that is getting resolved. So this is the whole thing.